Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com, and this is episode 184 of Photo Critiques. And in this episode, I'm pleased to critique the work of Helzio Cupertino. Helzio has a really distinctive style, and it's really cool. He likes using backlight and using flare to his advantage. Now in this shot, there's not so much flare, but he has a strong backlight. He did a really nice job. Now, if you shoot this on automatic with your camera's going to meter for the bright sun and the bright spots in the camera, or in the scene, I mean, and the subject is going to be really in shadow. So he did a real nice job adding some exposure compensation or shooting in manual so that he gave enough exposure to his subject. And then he even kind of reveled in the harsh light that is in this scene. He had his model pose in such a way where she's kind of flaunting the hard light, and it's a really nice shot, really nice composition, and a really nice idea. This shot, is I'm talking about before, was his kind of style where you have the really overexposed background and it gives you this kind of overexposed flare across the lens, and it's a really nice shot. And again, if you shot this in automatic with your camera, the subjects would be very underexposed because your camera's going to try to get an average meter reading for the whole scene, and it's going to try to get everything towards, a medium gray, and these subjects would be underexposed. So it's a really nice job. You have to shoot usually on manual. You have to give enough exposure so that the skin on the people is properly exposed. And that's what you're aiming for. And then everything else you could have overexposed. That's fine. That's the look. And it's a really nice job Helzio did here. Now, one posing tip: when you're posing men and women together, you usually want the men's head to be straight up and down, from the chin to their top of their head, straight up and down, so they're not leaning in. And you want the woman's head to be tilted in towards the man. That's just kind of a typical way to pose a man and a woman, and it's very natural, and we are used to seeing that. So always get that shot with the man's head straight up and down, woman's head tilted in. Then you could experiment later. You could have them both tilt their heads in, or both have their heads straight up, or have one looking to the side and one looking at the camera, stuff like that. But always make sure you get that one shot where the man's head is straight up and down and the woman's head's tilted in. It's a nice shot again. The very strong backlight, overexposed in the back, but properly exposed subjects. It's a real strong shot. Now in this one I have some camera information. In this one I didn't have any camera information. I don't think. Yeah, no camera information on this one. And on this one we don't. We just have that it was a 50mm lens, 1/400th of a second, ISO 100. So on a crop sensor camera, this is 80mm, and it's a perfect portrait lens, so it doesn't really distort any features. I like the way that Helzio got down low and shot up at these guys. They look more imposing, kind of, tough looking. I think that's obviously the look they're going for. So it's a really nice shot. Again, we have it strongly backlit, but kind of gives this kind of flare through the shot, which is a nice effect. It's a nice shot. In this one here, if you notice in the shadows, there's nothing that's so dark we can't see any detail, and in the highlights there's nothing that's so bright we don't see any detail. And you can prove that by looking at the histogram. You can see how the histogram's all bunched up in the middle, and if I hover over this triangle, nothing in the photograph is turning red. That would mean that it's overexposed so much there's no detail in it. And if I hover over this triangle, nothing is turning blue. That would mean that the shadows are so dark there's no detail in it. So it's perfectly exposed. Really nice shot. This shot here, I like the composition a lot. It's really a cool shot. This one though, I think is a little overexposed, and it shouldn't be. There's not a lot of detail we could see in the buildings because it's so bright. So I think if we went to exposure and we just brought exposure down a little bit, like half a stop, just half a stop less of exposure, and you can see that there's a lot more detail now in the city part here, and it also enhanced the blue of the sea. So if you see, there's before and there's after, and I want you to particularly look down in here, before, after, and you can see it just added that little more detail. We can see the windows now, they're not all washed out. So it's a really nice shot. It's a really nice shot of this little boy. again, it's kind of backlit, so it's got, strong light in the background. It was 1/80th of a second at f/1.4, so wide open on this lens. ISO 1600. Now the focus isn't real strong. You can see how his eyes are a little blurry. There is some noise too, and that's from the ISO 1600. I'm pretty sure this was a crop sensor camera, so the noise is probably a little more pronounced than if it was on a full frame camera. I would like to see you do this shot again though, if you could, and really have more tight focus on his eyes. And if there was a way you could bring this ISO down, so you could bring it down to even 400, and then if you need to use a tripod, use a tripod, have them pose perfectly still. And I think it would be really a stunning shot if you had the eyes in better focus. It's a really cool shot. When I first glanced at this shot, I looked at the data up here and I saw it was a 50mm lens, again that same f/1.4 lens at f/8. And as soon as I saw f/8, I'm thinking, why is the background so blurry? And then I kind of realized I could see a line right here that was done in post. So Helzio wanted the background blurry and wanted the people to be perfectly, in the beach in perfect focus. So then I went on to the next picture, and then I saw it was the same exact picture with the background not blurred out. So you can see there it is before, or I should say the blurred out shot, and there's the same exact shot that isn't blurred out. So it's your own personal taste which one you like better. I like the one that's not blurred out better. I like typically to see a landscape. I like to see as much in focus as possible. That's my personal preference. I like the composition here. It's kind of the nice beach shot as you're going along the length of the beach. I like that there's people in the shot. We so often see these shots with nobody in it. And I like that there's people in the shot. It adds some interest and visual interest to the shot. Really nice exposure. Curious why we're in black and white though. I would like to see this scene in color, because it would look like it would be a stunning color shot too, with the yellows and oranges of the beach, the blues of the ocean, and the greens of the mountains. So I think it would be interesting. The sky looks interesting too, so I'm just curious about that. And there is some noise in the shot. A lot of times when you convert to black and white, especially if you use like Nik Silver Effects Pro 2, it tends to add some noise sometimes. So, but that's okay. It's a cool shot. It's a really nice shot. Kind of, just the sun just went down below the horizon and you got this brilliant sky. Really nice job. And again, the shadows aren't so dark that we aren't totally lacking in any detail. So we have some detail. We could read the boat. We could see some stuff over in here. It's a really cool shot. This again is kind of the overexposed background with the subject perfectly exposed, and it's really well done. You can see it's really hard to do this shot. You can see there's a bright spot on her forehead, on the tip of her nose, on the edge of her chin, so it kind of loses a little definition right there. She almost blends into the background. So it's really difficult to pull off this effect sometimes. But Helzio did a nice job here. It's a really nice composition. The only slight thing I would like this one to be a little closer. I would like it to be more like cropped right below her hand, like that. You would eliminate this back here too, and I think it would be a stronger shot. I think that's the last one. Yep, that's it. Helzio, thank you for sharing your work with us. I really do like your style. It's not often in critiques that I get someone that has a distinct style, so I really do like it. Only thing I would say to work on is the posing technique I mentioned with the men and women, and focus on the eyes on that one shot. I think it would be really a stunning shot. And that's it. You guys, I really do appreciate everyone who watches my videos. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.